Welcome to Cycling Conversations with inGamba, where we celebrate the art and the culture of the sport, the rhythm, the ritual, and the refinement that surrounds it. inGamba means in the know, and as with our cycling tours, these conversations are meant to bring you behind the scenes in our world. This is a space for when sport meets elevated living, where a former pro racer dissects the brutality of racing a classic, followed by a cycling CEO sharing their favorite spot for a post-ride Negroni. Along the way is our creative director and award-winning cycling photographer James Startt, who joins me, Molly Hurford, to unpack the cultural currents shaping the sport and the destinations that make it so beautiful. To learn more about our award-winning bike tours and to join us, visit inGamba.pro or the link in the show notes. Hey everyone, welcome back to Cycling Conversations with inGamba. I'm Molly Hurford, a longtime cycling journalist, joined by James Startt, inGamba's creative director and longtime award-winning cycling photographer. We have such an exciting episode today, especially if you are a cycling fan who's really gearing up to be glued to the screen for the next month of Tour de France racing. James, what do you think about today's episode?
Well, I've been looking forward to this one for quite a while because it's the Tour de France is coming, and I was just trying to think of a way to talk about the Tour de France in an interesting way, not just talking about the favorites, who's going to win and lose, but coming with different angles. And we have a long-standing relationship with Pinarello, and by chance we share all of our partners with the Pinarello Q36 team, being Pinarello, Q36, SRAM, many of the same partners. So I thought it'd be interesting to bring together Fausto Pinarello, who needs no introduction, obviously, and Douglas Ryder, who is the mastermind behind the Pinarello Q36 team, and to talk about the way that they approach the Tour de France. One, as a bicycle manufacturer, not only a bicycle manufacturer, but the winningest Tour de France bicycle manufacturer in the game. I think they have 15 Tour wins under their belt since 1988 with Pedro Delgado. Not to mention the countless, stage wins. I mean, our own Eros Poli won his epic stage on the Mont Ventoux in 1994 on a Pinarello. So
we have to flag that Eros Poli was not the man that you would expect to win the Mont Ventoux stage. So we're not saying it's all about the Pinarello, but the Pinarello might have played a very important role in that particular win. Speaking of, you can also join us at inGamba on a tour to actually ride up Mont Ventoux, hear the story from the man himself even.
Absolutely. I was just on one of the Provence Mont Ventoux trips, actually, and it was just, I'm reminded every time how great it is. And we already have, that's saying a lot since we have a lot of great trips. But anyway, obviously Douglas is getting ready for bringing his team back in. He has about a 10-year history in the Tour. He hasn't been there every year, but, in 2015, I believe, was his first tour, might have been 14, and they had the first African team, and he always finds ways to create opportunities with the different riders, be it Stephen Cummings or Boston Hagen or Daniel Tekla-Heimanot or Mark Cavendish or this year, Tom Pidcock. So I wanted to get into his brain a little bit about how he approaches the Tour de France as a sort of master opportunist, if you want, and so I thought the conversation was really going to be interesting, and it is. I mean, it's fascinating to see the way they work together, they push and pull off each other, and how they each prepare for the tour in their own ways.
Absolutely, yeah. And I feel like we don't often get some real behind the scenes, especially with Tom Pidcock, who's one of the most winning cyclists of all time at this point. Yet we really don't get to hear that much kind of about what it's like having him on the team. So I feel like Doug gave us a lot of really great insider intel. And side note, the Pinarellos that we're talking about in this episode, these are the ones that you're actually riding when you are on an inGamba trip. So we're always using the Pinarello Dogma F. The top of the line. It's the one that the World Tour teams are using. So if you're hearing this and you're thinking, gosh, I wonder what it would be like to feel as fast as those World Tour guys on one of these bikes, definitely join us for a tour. And you can find out more at inGamba.pro.
All right, with that, let's get into this episode with Doug and Fausto. Enjoy. Today, James and I are joined by Doug Ryder, manager for the Pinarello Q36.5 Pro Cycling Team, and Fausto Pinarello, whose name, well, it speaks for itself. Gentlemen, welcome to Cycling Conversations with inGamba. We are so excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Happy to be here. Thanks.
All right, James, do you want to take us away with the first question here?
Well, I'm in Paris, and I think that Fausto, I'm not sure if you were there for Fashion Week, but I know Pinarello is very present with Louis Vuitton. But when you're not in the middle of Fashion Week, you are historically making some of the most winningest bikes in the history of the Tour de France or in the history of Grand Tours. I think you have 15 Tour de France victories, 9 Giros, and 7 Vueltas, far and above the winningest team. I remember years ago when I was breaking in, I spoke with José Miguel Echevarri, the longtime director of the Reynolds team and then the Banesto team, and he talked about how he went to Italy to visit with your father to negotiate the first bikes and how he had to have Pinarello and you understood that you had to work together. Do you remember this story?
I didn't remember because I was straight involved, directly involved, because in that time I was only 20 years old, not so many years. Just at the beginning of when I started job, I was 17, but 20, not be involved at the time. Because Miguel Echevarri was asking for his own team because I think there was Benotto company. It's from Mexican company, from Benotto. They say no more. We cannot support again. And José Miguel Echevarri went to Campagnolo, and Campagnolo said, probably you can go in Treviso. We are not so far from Vicenza. They say, can you ask to Giovanni Nani Pinarello? My father, he made a deal. He sold the frame and the bike, not sponsoring, not. It was very small company, a little bit more bigger than a shop, bicycle shop. And my father sold the bikes to José Miguel Echevarri because it was study amateurs team, under 23. Then he became stronger and stronger. We let Echevarri in 1989 because the new sponsor like Banesto, they asked to José Miguel to use the Spanish brands. At the time, Razesa bikes and probably like a TVT. TVT frames was between France, race between France and Spain. But after 2 years, the two companies, me personally, 91, I won the Giro d'Italia with Franco Chioccioli. After 2 months, someone tried to steal me the team. It was Del Tongo, it was Bianchi. Okay, we had no more team in Italy. And José Miguel Echevarri called me, I read this in the bikes. Of course, okay. And we started collaboration from 1991. And with the Banesto team, and then with Miguel Birain. Miguel, of course.
Well, Miguel.
That's what the real story.
Okay. And
I remember how much I paid because I remember now it was someone will pay. I need to sponsor the team. My father says, it's expensive. I know. Someone will pay. I don't know. But I say, okay, I want to get it. No way. Then, so many thanks to José Miguel Echevarri.
I remember that I believe Indurain was actually on that amateur team. You know, so it was you didn't even know what you had yet. And actually, the first Tour de France victory was not obviously Miguel, but was Pedro Delgado, who was the first Spaniard to win since Bahamontes, 1888, 98. 88, yeah. But that, and then it just sort of opened up with, Indurain, then Bjorn Ries, Ulrich, Pereiro, Wiggins, of course, Froome, and then the whole Sky dynasty. Is there a sentimental favorite for you? One that really was super important for the brand or the team that when you look back and said that one really, really was special? Are they all special?
Yeah. Oh, the guy there was special. The guy that was special. The team there was special because I always first I learned a lot from every single team from Banesto because from Banesto means Miguel Indurain to the France, but light frame for a big guy like that was 1.90 and our record and track, so aerodynamic. And the new material as composite because we came from the aluminum, steel aluminum, and the carbon fiber with Miguel. Then Team Telecom, a really strong team. It was a real story that when Rudy Pevenage asked me, it was 1995, and at the time and that year, 95, the team was a mixed team between some Team Telecoms, was like Cacaito Rodriguez, some very...
ZG Mobili. ZG Mobili.
ZG Mobili is a company in Treviso. It was a mixed team. And I say, okay, do you want to sponsor the team? Okay, first, you use it Eddie Merck's bike. Eddie is a friend of mine, still a friend of mine. I say, I will not because Eddie is a friend of mine. They say, no, Eddie doesn't, you want to stop? Okay. And it's not about winning something. It was about sale bikes in Germany, because Germany at the time was a young market for Pinarello. I said, okay, let's go. Let's go with the team. We see how many bikes we will sell in Germany. Nobody told me that 1 month later, Team Telecom signed Jan-Ulrich, Bjarne Ries. Okay, I said, okay, let's go. In 1996, Bjarne won the first Tour de France, and then Jan-Ulrich. It was a very interesting story. And we sell a lot of bikes in Germany. That's what the most important.
Well,
we stayed with them for more than 10 years. We understand more in time trial and the technical thing, because I can tell you that Bjarne Ries was is still one of the most technical rider, really focalizing the taste. Like in January 1996, he came with me in Treviso. He introduced me Ulrich Schoberer. He was the inventor of SRM. And I said, Bjarne, what is this? It's something like no, it's very important. Bjarne Schoberer is every night. Are you sure? Sure. Okay. And now SRM, I think, is one of still the inventor of power meters. Invent something that is no more an option for a professional rider, something that you need to have. And the Bjarne, I can say, is very, very a good story about Bjarne and Carsten Jepsen, because it was in 2000. They won the 2005, 2006. 2005, Team Fassa Porto, they stopped at Pinarello, okay? I'm looking for another team. And that time it was CSC, probably CSC. No, what's the name? Bjarne Ries and the Carsten Jepsen.
CSC.
Were the technical responsible of the team in-house. Hey, can I come to you, Bjarne? Because I need a new team. Okay, I take the airplane from Venice in the morning. I went to Copenhagen. Probably I had a meeting with them, probably 20 million. 30 million, they say, Carsten and Bjarne, I'm sorry, Faro, I don't need bikes. It was a surveyor at the time. I said, okay. And then I come back in the afternoon. And but the relation was still good, because in 2010, Carsten Jepsen came back to me with the Team Sky. Probably I still have a good relation with the most of the bicycle, the world bicycle, the Pro Tour, and the bicycle. I mean, the rider professional. So I always say that if you're okay, if you're correct, if you try to do your best, your job like in the best way, no less mistake you can with the less mistakes, and then with the a little bit not so arrogance, so you can have a chance to sponsor the best team in the world. Because then with the Team Sky, Carsten came back, so a new era with the Team Sky and then Team Ineos. And the story of Team Sky is that there was a Phil Griffith, who was our distributor in UK, Yellow Limited company. That time in the British Cycle Federation it was one of the most important cycle federation. Track, technology, performances. Okay. I want to be there, because they won a lot of gold medal in the Olympics, probably in 2004, 2005. 2004. I say, why not? Then we start to sponsor the British Cycle Federation, the track British Cycle Federation from the union, not Chris Hoy or Grant Thomas or Bradley Wiggins. I started slowly with the junior team, and then with the under 23, and then BMX and mountain bike. And then in 2009, I have a chance to ride the Marathon Dolomites with James Murdoch, one of the honest guys. And I say, hey, okay, I'm James. Nice to meet you. I'm Fausto Pinarello. I'm using your bike. Okay. I say, we want to sponsor the British, you're sponsored the British Cycle Federation, because Sky was a sponsor of the British. We want to do a professional team. Great. I say, if you want, I'm here. If you need the bikes, I'm here. And then James, and then Phil Griffith, and then Carsten Jepsen, we find a combination. So I think that I had the chance in the last 30 years to be a technical sponsor, for my opinion, of the best team in the world.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was
still spending money, not for free, never for free, just spending money. But I was still happy to if they ask me, I want to do it again. Why not? I think some to be lucky first, stay on the right position, in the right place, in the right time, with the good stuff. This is my company with a lot of patience because bicycle is still my passion. So yeah.
I remember, I think it was
We're 15 Tour de France. I think with 10 different riders or 8 or 9 different riders were important.
Yeah.
Not just one.
Yeah. I remember
No Italian, but it's okay.
I remember speaking with Karsten. I was in Sicily with you with a new bike. I think it was 2015.
F10.
Yeah,
F10
yeah.
bike.
And I was talking with Karsten about the relationship, and he said we wanted to work with Pinarello because they work with you. They're not a brand that says, "Oh, we can't do that. This is not possible." Or whatever. They give us input. There's a push and pull and a communication to move forward for both of you, which is super important. Doug, obviously, with now Pinarello Q36, you've over the years worked with great bikes also, I'm sure. But what's it like coming to a brand like Pinarello who has so much experience winning the biggest races? Is there a difference in mentality, or can you describe it at all?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think thanks. The passion that oozes from Fausto and from the organization is evident. It's not just a commercial bike brand; it's a bike brand that's built with absolute love and passion and the lust to be better, I guess, and so that's quite cool. But we've had some of the best or some really good bike brands partner us in the past. But I mean, having a one bike for all circumstances and all terrains is really amazing. It's really easy for the team because you don't really have that choice, but you've got a bike that can maintain a high performance across all terrains. And then, of course, the TT bike has been proven once and again that it is probably today the fastest TT bike on the market. I mean, we saw that, we've seen that, we've felt that, and TTs are becoming really important in the outcomes of Grand Tours. We saw Tom Pidcock, finish third last year in the Vuelta, but I mean, in the end, it was 30 seconds to third place, and there was a team time trial. So if you're losing time and you lose 30 seconds in a team time trial or in an individual time trial, it could kick you off the podium at the end of a Grand Tour. It become that fundamental. So looking at the whole picture and the ecosystem and of what we have as a team, yeah, it's a privilege. And for us to even, as you say, I mean, it is the greatest Grand Tour winning bicycle of the generation now, which is amazing. And having Pinarello in our first name for our team, for our Tour de France this year, I think it's great for Fausto. It's great for us. It elevates the brand. The bike that we're putting together and have put together to start next week is truly beautiful and aspirational. So, that's what Pinarello brings. And then the riders feel it. That extra watts that you wonder where it comes from when you want to be lucky and everybody's prepared well, when you've got a connected bike into kit into everything, the riders, that makes a difference. And they really, really ooze, confidence and want to show it off, I guess. So I'm excited for our first tour next week starting.
If you're enjoying this conversation and you would love to have these kind of chats in real life and ride these bikes in real life, join inGamba on a trip. We actually have 4 trips next year that will celebrate the Tour de France. So if you absolutely adore everything around the tour, the pageantry, the riding, the epic climbs, definitely make sure you're joining us. We'll be in Provence, we'll be in the Alps, we'll be climbing Mont Ventoux, and of course our trip to Flanders and Roubaix. So find out more at ingamba.pro, and we hope to see you on a trip soon. All right, back to the episode.
A question for both of you, actually, because I know you have a new bike, a new kit coming out. Obviously, tons of preparation for the tour. So you have not one team but 2 teams. But with your title team, with Pinarello, you have a new bike colors coming out with. And how much work goes into this? When does the planning start? When are the decisions made? Is this something already last year you were discussing, or can either one of you to sort of explain the evolution and how we come to decide when we're going to launch a new look, a new color scheme, and the work that goes into it?
I think, Doug, it's just the question from the PQ3 Pinarello Q36.5 is a long brand, long name. PQ3, the PQ3 is for technical reason, because the team needs let's say brighter and the lighter for the night temperature on the Tour de France. So Doug can explain much better than me. And then they decide the material, the color of the clothing, and the color of the bag. I think it was like this one.
Yeah, like that, absolutely. I mean, and it was a few months in the making and in the works, and it was something that we wanted to respect and represent the team in a beautiful way at our first Tour de France, to change it a little bit, to show that that it becomes a limited edition for the tour. It's our first Tour de France. I mean, there's the French flag on the back of the jersey of what the riders will wear, and this beautiful bike that has this most amazing colorway and paint job that'll light up in the sun. And you just I suppose give us more hope. But I mean, it is a beautiful bike, and it's a custom painted bike, and yeah, I mean, it'll just give everybody massive momentum, as we go through the tour for the 3.5 weeks, which is going to be really exciting. But yeah, it shows a lot of the technicalities in the garments, and it shows a lot of the technicalities of the bike. So it's going to be, it's going to be shit hot.
And I do want to talk about the technicalities of the clothing, because before we started recording, we were talking about just how hot it is in Paris. And we know heat and temperature are going to be a major factor in this year's tour. And Q36.5 really temperature heat control, that is a big part of that clothing brand. So Doug, I'd love to hear actually, how are you thinking about how are we cooling the team? How are we going to get through this probably historically hot race?
Yeah, look, I think there's more than just the clothing. There's also the nutrition and the cooling strategies that we have. It's a whole connected ecosystem. I mean, through Amex, one of our nutritional partners, we have ice gels. We've created so many different things to make sure that we can cool appropriately. Of course, the big thing around Q36.5 is keeping your core body temperature to be as optimal as possible and to perform at its best. And if you look at our jersey, there's multiple fabrics that are there basically to not only protect the riders, but also, to disperse the sweat off the body and to push it to the outside of the garment so that they can not only stay cooler, but also, keep their core body temperature regulated. It's a beautiful piece of kit, I must say. So we're very fortunate.
Okay.
I was going to say, on the note of beautiful kits, I know I'm getting a little outside of the tour, but I'm going to stick with the Paris theme. We were talking about Paris Fashion Week. I have to ask about this. And Fausto, I have to tell you, last week I was on another podcast, a women's cycling podcast, and the woman I was talking with accidentally referred to an hors categorie climb as an haute couture climb. And we were laughing about that. And then the next day, this collaboration with Louis Vuitton and Pinarello dropped. And I was like, oh, haute couture is, in fact, in cycling. How did this collaboration come about? Do you think that cycling is starting, or sport in general is starting to influence fashion? Is fashion coming into cycling? How is this all working?
Well, first of all, I can tell you that, can answer that fashion and the cycling is something that let's say the marriage is very, it's perfect marriage, because it's not just about as for the team bike or the PQ3, the color of the kits is the same color of the bike. Probably there's someone that they use some shoes from the 36.5 with the same color of the bike. It's new from the tour. But the fashion, cycling, the bicycle, high-end bicycle, not just sport and the cycling, it's fashion. Because the people, they use the bike not just to train, but just to be, they're not using the wool clothing or the helmets like in the past. I think they're quite perfect. Like, how do you say photo model? The photo model is like a model on the fashion wing. The people, they're perfect. But there was a question from Father Williams, directly from Father Williams. Louis Vuitton is a group as a Father Williams. His owner, I think 2 or 3 Dogma. One is one Dogma in Paris, one another in New York, I think, or Los Angeles. He said, I want that bike because probably the design of the bike. So I don't want to say this our bike is sexy, because they want not sexy bike, but performance bike. Probably okay, this is perfect with the Louis Vuitton brand. And then together with them, with the father first, and then the father Williams, then Federico spent a lot of time to manage the two staffs. And then, you know that my first job was a painter the bicycle, not the wall or the houses, but bicycle. I still there. I spend many hours a day just on the paint facility. So it was not a challenger for us, a little bit a challenge, but that was perfect. Probably spent there, I think, 1 year, probably 1 year just to ride on the bike or the fashion week that we send it to ship to Paris probably 2 days earlier the fashion week or the Saturday. Father Williams and Federico, they say okay, and then 2 days after the fashion week with the bike was. Okay, if you talk about Louis Vuitton, I think they don't need presentation. It's probably is a brand, so it's especially in Paris. I think it was the how to say I say before to be there in the best moment in the best place in the right place in the right moment. So it's Samantha Laz, but you had a partnership with the Louis Vuitton in the past and the Cato C, but it was not the same. This is for Williams and the Pinarello. Okay, that is Vuitton, but yeah, it was good.
It looked amazing. It looked amazing. And it was very cool seeing there were also a bunch of running brands that were showing at Fashion Week that were doing all of these little activations. So there were all these group rides and group runs happening. And it really feels like the broader like fashion and cultural zeitgeist is really embracing endurance sport, which we love.
Yeah, I agree. I love me too, yeah.
Well, in a week, and basically a week, we're going to be down in Barcelona for the start of the tour. Doug, I followed your career. Actually, a little known factoid you did not know. We have one thing in common. The only Olympics that either of you ever did was Atlanta in '96. You were riding. It was my first as a journalist. But you know, I first met you back in the Quebec days and followed you. And I've always been struck by your ability to find situations in the Tour de France. You know, you might not have the dominant team, but be it Daniel Tekla-Heimanot, who suddenly grabs that polka dot jersey for 4 days and becomes the hope of Africa, to Steve Cummings or Boasson-Hagen, who could find ways to come out with 1 or 2 stage wins in the tours. This is this part of your DNA, as kind of being an opportunist and finding opportunities for the riders? And is this a message you give to them?
Yeah, look, thanks. I mean, we also won on Nelson Mandela's birthday on the 18th of July in 2015, which was amazing. We broke the Mandela Day server because they got so many hits that the whole system fell over. But yes, I think it's about just giving people hope and the respect of the race. You know, like I've always gone to all of our riders, irrespective if they've ridden 1 Tour de France or 10, and just to say it's a privilege to be at the highest level in sport, and it's a privilege to represent yourself and your team at the sport's biggest annual event, and never ever take any minute or any moment or any kilometer for granted. You know, look at it as if it's your last. And enjoy every single moment of it, and creating an environment in the staff, that just embodies, faith and hope and trust. But I think the main thing is around preparation. I mean, as Fausto was saying earlier, he's been lucky in people that he's met at certain times in his career that have made a massive impact on the brand and where he's come from. But you make your own luck when you're in the game and you prepare and you have a peripheral vision, and you look at things openly and holistically. And I think that's what we've always done. We've looked at things openly. We've trusted riders. We've prepared really well, focused on the details, focused on our strengths. We race the competition. We understand them, but we focus on where we feel we can make an impact. And we make sure that on those days we make the impact. And then if you become lucky and things go your way, then you can win. And that's then the most beautiful feeling, because it connected the whole team, not just the riders and their strategy and plan, but it goes from the bus driver to the chef to everybody that's involved. Everybody has a role to play. But in our first Tour de France, let me just digress. I mean, I think it's also around your culture. Like in our first Tour de France, 2015, Steve Cummings goes 10th in the prologue, and we drank champagne. And everybody in the pro peloton was like, who drinks champagne for a 10th place? But it was our first top 10. Then 5 days later, we went 5th on the Roubaix stage. We drank more champagne. And then 3 days after that, we won a stage. And the whole peloton was like, this team celebrates successes and it's individual success. And I think that created an amazing culture. And it helped us actually attract some of the best talent on and off the bike to our team, just because we were successful. We didn't have the biggest budget. We always focused on details and had great equipment. Now even more so. And then just, then dreams come true and magic happens.
Yeah. They, obviously two of the biggest, most of what we just talked about were, not with the biggest stars of the peloton, but you've had some great stars, obviously, with Mark Cavendish and now Tom Pidcock. What's interesting for me in their stories is they came to you after a year or two where they were kind of stagnating, and in both situations, they blossomed when they were on your team, and they kind of, took their game back up a bit. And I'm just kind of curious if you see similarities with them, and perhaps what were the messages and that you tried to convey to them to get them on your team and then give them the space to perform.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, when Mark Cavendish first joined our team, I met him in Paris at the end of the Tour de France in 2015. He messaged me after we'd won on Mandela Day, and he was still with Quickstep, and he messages me. He says, "Hey, are you still in Paris on the Monday?" I had a bit of a headache from the night before. And I said, absolutely, I'm still there. And we had a breakfast. And he says, I want to join your team. So I said, why? So I said, because you guys look like you have fun, you're relaxed, but you look very professional. So I said, okay, no problem. But then my sponsor phoned me that night and said, they're not MTN, they're not continuing. So I phoned Mark and I said, I don't actually have a team. I'll fight to put a team on the road. And then he was like, well, I've already told Quickstep that I'm leaving. And so I back you that and I've never met him before. I'll back you that you'll find a partner, and I'm all in. And then I was like, oh shit, I have to find a sponsor. But anyway, then he won 4 stages in our first race. And it was just because we brought a group of people around him that he felt that he was valued, respected, took a leadership role. And we just created a nice environment for him to be the best version of himself and took out the complexity. And I think Tom Pidcock was the same. He didn't want to fight for leadership. He wanted someone that just believed in him and gave him the freedom to express himself and to do great work. And in both environments, we've seen significant success, which has been amazing.
It's Tom is obviously a fascinating rider. One reason is because he's so good at so many things. Yeah. One day he's winning mountain bike races, and then he's getting third in the Vuelta, and then he's winning stages on the epic climbs. How do you manage somebody like that? Do you have to try to to give him direction, or are you more of the mindset, set him free, let him have fun and do what he does best, or is it a combination?
No, it is a combination. But for the most part, what Tom wanted was the freedom to be himself, and the freedom and the trust to, that he would make the right decisions, and we trusted him in that, and that we would make the right decisions in support of him. But we cannot be everything to everybody. But what I've loved about Tom is that every single thing that he's implemented and wanted in this team has to benefit the 30th rider on the team. And so that's cool. Like, he's a real leader. He's not a person that creates a team within the team, and lots of champions in teams create their own team within the team. And Tom is not like that. He wants to race with everybody on the team. He wants to, make sure that everybody gets the maximum from the partners, like from Pinarello, from all of our partners, from Q36.5. Everything that he implements benefits one and all, because he knows he cannot be successful without them. And that's a really cool, mature leader. And I've been very super. Every time he speaks to the group or to people, I always say to him, like, wow, you are so wise beyond your years. Like, he's a really inspirational person.
Obviously he's been a little, I don't know if coy is the word, but he's not putting much pressure on himself for this year's tour. He could be a GC rider, he could be a stage hunter. Is it you just kind of going into it to see how it goes, or is there a plan we're not talking about?
No, I mean, of course there's an aspirational plan, and there's a dream. Like last year for the Vuelta, we said top 10 was the goal, top 5 was the dream. Anything better than that was out of this world. And I think we're going in with the same motivation and the same kind of strategy. But of course, Tom is a winner. He wants to win. He's an impact rider. When he gets the opportunity, he's going to win, and he's going to want to try and win early. And this tour, the first week, is super hard. The first 6 stages of this year's Tour de France are not easy, and that could support and help us. And we look forward to seeing him and the rest of the riders perform in our team. But Tom's, he hasn't had he's had a crash, and hasn't had the best build up, but he's coming good. And the third week is also hard, so there's time in the tour, but we'd like to start well and start early.
Okay. I just have one final question. I guess this one's for you, Fausto. You have 2 teams in the Tour de France. There's a lot of prizes out there. There's polka dot jerseys and yellow jerseys and green jerseys. And as a bike manufacturer, there's a tradition of, when somebody gets a yellow jersey, or even if it's for a few days, decorating the bike or making something special. How does this happen? Do you go in with some pre-made frames, yellow, green, polka dot, or do you because that becomes kind of complicated because you don't know what size it might be, right? Or do you have to kind of be spontaneous and improvise the night before if somebody gets a jersey, or how does this work?
I'm Italian. I am a little bit scaramantic. If I'm really sure that we will be a jersey, because I told before I was a painter in the past. We still have our paint facility, and we can paint one frame in a couple hours. I just told you that it was 3:00. I have a confirmation that the new color of is Kwiatkowski, but you want the time child championship in Poland, Polish, and we can manage. We send the graphics to the team in-house, to casting to Kyoto is okay, perfect. So the frame will be ready on Tuesday. The frame will be in Barcelona.
Amazing.
And then because I'm a scaramantic, if we need a new color, we can make it one night. The guys here, my staff is really. They're really proud because they are working hard, especially this time is 40 degrees in the factory. No, maybe less because 30. But it's hot, it's warm, and then, we won a championship yesterday. Okay, let's go. Which color? This one. They start there. And when they say, I need a bike, the yellow bike or the pink bike or whatever, say, we need the 3-4 people. They start... not all together. One came probably at 3:00 in the evening, in the afternoon. The other 4:00 and 5:00. And the other they wake up 5:00 in the morning just to finish the frame. And the driver ready to ship to come with the frame. But that is in Paris or Milano or in Madrid. But it's Scaramantic, so only the day before.
Wow.
From day to day before.
Wow. All right. Well, listen, that's good for me. I wish you both the best of luck. Doug, I hope I'll be curious to see what opportunities you create. And Fausto, I hope that they'll have to do a lot of overtime painting special frames for you during the next 3 weeks.
Me too.
This is good work, right?
We will. I will. Then we have a lot of frame ready to paint. So just it depends on the color. We can mix.
Alrighty.
You can always send us a Louis Vuitton one, Fausto, if you want. We can always just write that just as a kind of an in-betweener.
I'm sorry, nothing to do with the sale we don't buy. Probably Father William, he ordered a bike and he want to sell a bike. It's not about that. So. And you cannot, no one can buy. Just he will decide who is able to ride with the Vuitton bike. It's not just not about the quality, just probably, I don't know, many.
Well, it was amazing what AI did when they showed Tom Pidcock lying under the bike, on top of the bike, in and around the bike. I mean, it's amazing.
They also want Joshua Talley today. Then, I don't know. I think the brand is a strong brand. So it's
yeah, I agree.
Beautiful. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for this. This was such a fun conversation.
Look forward to it. Ciao. Ciao.
Renta.
Thanks so much for joining us for Cycling Conversations with inGamba. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode, and we hope to see you on the bike soon.